Today on the Daily Bellringer, we're taking a look at Manifest Destiny. Hello and welcome to the Daily Bellringer. Please don't forget to take a look at the questions down in the description, and don't forget to subscribe. And of course, I'd love to see your answer to question number 5 in the comments below. So, Manifest Destiny. You know, it covers a huge time period in American history. Basically, the entire antebellum period of American history. And the antebellum period of American history is from the end of the War of 1812, basically, to the beginning of the Civil War. But you might be asking, what is Manifest Destiny? Manifest Destiny was basically the idea that the United States must expand its boundaries to the Pacific Ocean. And not only was it the idea that they must do this, it was also the idea that this was their right and that this was their duty. And this was what a lot of Americans believed in throughout this time period. And really, Manifest Destiny, that term was coined by a newspaper editor, columnist named John O'Sullivan in 1845 in an article that he wrote arguing for the annexation of Texas or adding Texas to the United States. I'll put a link to that article down in the description if you want to take a look at it. But in order to understand Manifest Destiny and really why Americans were so bound and determined to control the western part of the United States, we kind of have to look at see what was going on the east coast of the United States in order to understand why they wanted to push to the west. So one of the huge things that's going on in this time period is, of course, the Industrial Revolution. The production of the means of producing products was not handmade anymore. Basically, we were getting to the point to where machines were beginning to take the place of handmade goods. You know, textiles, cloth being made in mass production. You know, clothing being able to bought in different sizes in the stores, things like that. Instead of just making it by hand at home, people were now working in factories, especially in the northeast part of the United States, to create all of these products. All right, and as they're doing this, you know, the cities are getting bigger and bigger. But we also have to consider here too what Northeasterners in particular were thinking about how their life was how things were supposed to be accomplished. Or I guess basically their ideology about life. And actually, at this time, historians consider this ideology that they had at this time is known as the free labor ideology. Basically, this idea that you were going to work hard. You were going to get a job, probably a wage labor job, where you were going to maybe work in a factory, but you were going to learn some sort of a skill. And while learning this skill, you know, you continue building yourself up, and eventually you'd save up enough money to buy your own piece of land, start your own business. You'd have those skills you just gained, and you would become independently wealthy. So that was the idea of what they thought life was really going to be about. But in order for this to happen, there had to be some stuff present in order for it to happen. One thing was there had to be cheap land available. There had to be some land to be able to buy, and it had to be relatively a good price so you could afford to buy it. You could save up and buy it while you were working your way through. Also, there couldn't be an aristocracy. So in other words, a group of people who were just wealthy that controlled all of the wealth. All right. Instead, it was, you know, everybody working their way up. Now, that's what they thought would be going on during this time period. But what was actually the reality? The reality was that wealth was becoming more and more concentrated. And actually, if you look at these statistics, in 1820, 10% of the population owned about 50% of the wealth in the United States. By 1860, 10% of the population owned about 73% of the wealth. So wealth was getting much more concentrated. People were not necessarily working their way through this free labor ideology. And also, you know, of course, the Industrial Revolution is moving quickly. Wage labor is becoming permanent. People are not working their way out of it. And so cities are getting bigger and bigger. And so that meant there was less land available and the land was more expensive. So we have an aristocracy here. We have land that's not available in the Northeast in particular. And so, of course, what is the answer? Manifest destiny. Move to the west. Move somewhere where there's land available, where you could be able to, you know, work your way up, where there was an aristocracy, where you could get your own little piece to be able to work on. And so Northerners, this was kind of what drove them to move west, was this idea that they could move west and make this new life for themselves. All right. But one big thing that Northerners in particular were really against was having slavery out in the West, because they saw that as competition to being able for them to be able competition to them being able to accomplish these goals. And so they were very, very against slavery moving to the West. And actually, that's a big reason the Civil War is eventually going to happen, is because Northerners were so opposed to slavery moving into the western part of the United States. And of course, that's going to be one of the big issues as we're moving through this time period. But here real quickly at the end, as I always say, answer question number 5 in the comments. Here's the question I want you to look at, or at least what I want you to kind of analyze here. Well, you see here, this is a painting titled American Progress, painted by John Gast in 1872. And really, this painting encapsulates what Manifest Destiny was all about, or what it really looked like. All right, and so I'm going to put a link to this painting in the description as well. And kind of what I'd like for you to do is look at the painting and kind of analyze it. What is it that you see in this painting that really symbolizes what Manifest Destiny was all about? But we got to think about, Manifest Destiny, this is really what's in the back of people's minds throughout this entire Antebellum period, from the War of 1812 to the beginning of the Civil War, that's really pushing them to move to the West and really drives a lot of American policy. Okay, so hopefully you learned something there, and thanks for watching.